In this lesson, I'm going to demonstrate the concept of the if statement in Java. So, for instance, the if statement can be followed by an optional else statement, because with any conditionals, for example, if it's raining outside, you would take an umbrella, else you would stay inside the house. So, a simple logic that follows with the if statement. Now, there are other variations of the if statement that I'm going to cover later on, but for right now, just a basic concept of the if statement in Java. So next, let me in fact demonstrate. So let's go ahead and open our Java Eclipse editor. So once I'm in the editor, I'm going to go ahead and click on the Java introduction. In fact, right click and then create a new class because we need a new file basically. So let's click on new, choose class. I'm going to call it if statement. Click finish, and this opens the if statement.java for us and creates the new public class with the same name called if statement. Of course, let's go to the next line and define certain properties for our public. And we have been doing this in every lesson, so by now you should be pretty comfortable with setting these simple properties. So it'll be public, static, void, and then main, and then our string goes in here, and then the command line arguments. We open up another curly braces, and next we begin our code. Of course, the first step is to declare a variable. So I'm going to go ahead and say something like int test score. Now, what I'm going to do here is we are going to set some conditions. So for example, if you score higher than 90%, you would get an A. Else, you'd get a B. Else, you might get a C, D, or you may fail the class. So in fact, I'm going to use multiple or nested else or else if within the simple if statement. So I'm not just going to show you a simple one. I'm going to in fact build a simple logic so it's easier to understand that way. So first steps first, our int test score is equal to, let's say 76 is the passing marks. Put a semicolon. Next, the character would be grade. And this is where I'm going to begin the if statement. So if my test score, right, that's the variable, is greater than equal to, the test score must be greater than or equal to 90. So that's my first condition. Open my curly braces. You would get a grade equals A. Okay, pretty simple. So if the test score is greater than or equal to 90, you would get an A grade. Now, this is the first part of the condition. Next, I'm going to specify that what happens if the score is, let's say, less than 90 or between, let's say, 80 or 90. That'd be a B grade. So let me go ahead and, in fact, close the curly braces here for the grade A. Next, I'm going to say else if the test score, which is the variable again, is greater than or equal to 80. Open another curly braces, and this time my grade is going to be set to B with a semicolon. Okay, so follow the simple logic. All we're doing here is setting the test score first, which is our initial variable is set to 76, and then we're specifying our if condition. So if the test score is greater than or equal to 90, you'd get an A grade. Else if test score is greater than or equal to 80, you'd get a B grade. And similarly, let me continue with another else if, and you can build as many as you like. So I'm going to say test score is greater than or equal to 70. Open another curly braces. This time my grade is going to equal to C. Put a semicolon, go to my next line, and just repeat the same process, right? So it's the same statements, just multiple times until we get to the D grade or F grade. So it'll be test score greater than equal to, let's say 60. In this instance, my grade is going to be D, semicolon. And finally, the else if to the test grade if you were to fail the class, for instance. So this will be test score is greater than equal to, let's say 50. You would get the grade of, say, an E, right? We're actually taking a step forward here. I'm just making this up. All right. And then once you're done, right? So in other words, the last statement would not be else if anymore. Let me in fact get rid of the E grade. We don't want the E grade. We just want a D, and else we want an F grade, right? So it'll be A, B, C, D, and then of course F. That's how it works. So once we're done with the grade D, now here I'm not going to say else if, because if I were to say else if here, I'm setting another condition. Because I like to close or end the if statement, so I'm going to say else, because notice the concept here. If you start with the if statement, it has to basically have an else, right? So the fundamental structure of the if statement is if else. The in between the else if, and else if are nested if statements, which are basically additional conditions. But all of these fall within the same if condition. So my first is if test score is greater than 90, and then of course I have my subconditions. And then finally, I need to tell Java what's it going to do. So else, open my curly braces, and give it a grade of, let's say, F or fail. Put a semicolon, close the curly braces, and of course at the end I need to print system.out.print, and then here I'm going to specify the grade equals quotation and then plus the variable, which is the grade. And of course my curly braces are closed, no syntax errors are here. Let's go ahead, let's run this. Save and launch dialog box appears. Let me click OK, and of course I get a grade of C. And the reason why we get a C grade is because our initial variable was 76, and 76 falls between 70 and 80, and if that's the case, I'm going to get a grade C because my test score is greater than or equal to 70. I'm going to get a C grade. Similarly, if I were to change the variable to, let's say, 92, that's what I were to score. Let's run this again, click OK, and this time my grade would be A. So a wonderful, powerful logic using the if statement in Java. So hope this helps. Practice, and let's move to the next lesson.